Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back. So today's video is another dupe video, and I'm going to be comparing the new Elf Poreless Putty Primer to the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Now, I do have just a tiny little sample of this that I got with a Sephora order. I don't have the full size, but there's plenty in here, so I've been playing around with this one as well as this one separately, but today I'm going to actually pit them against each other and do one on one side of my face and then one on the other. So I'm going to be able to compare how they feel, how they wear, and how they help my makeup wear throughout the day. So I will be doing a wear test at the end, and I'm also going to be going through some ingredients with you guys. And I would say the biggest difference when it comes to these two is price. This one is $8 and the full size of this one is $52, which is a huge price difference. So if this one even comes close to performing the way that this one does, I think it's going to be a major steal. So why don't we go ahead and just jump right in. Okay, so first up, let's talk packaging. So the Elf one comes in kind of a cheap feeling little container. You just unscrew the lid like so, and then inside the product is a light pink color. And then even though I don't have the full-size Tatcha one, I've seen it in store. The packaging is absolutely beautiful. Even this mini one has kind of nice packaging. It's white and purple, and then the lid screws off like so. I will say though, this was really hard to get the lid off just because it's so tiny, and I was kind of like, my fingers kept slipping and I kept grabbing the other side of it so it wasn't coming off. It was a pain in the neck actually, but once I got it off the first time, then after that it was easier. So inside, the product looks pretty much the same as the Elf one does. It's a light pink color, sort of like a balm. So first let's go ahead and get into the claims of each product. So the Elf description is pretty short. It just says, "This skin perfecting putty primer is infused with squalene to help grip makeup for all day wear and help protect the skin from moisture loss. This velvety texture glides effortlessly over the skin, smoothing over imperfections for a poreless look." So the Tatcha one not only claims to help makeup last longer and smooth out your skin, it's also claiming some anti-aging benefits, it's claiming anti-pollution benefits, it's claiming to help prevent clogged pores, and it's also claiming to help even out the skin tone with certain brightening extracts. So let's go ahead and get into the ingredients. I feel like that's a really important factor. When you're buying a product in general, I feel like a lot of us are more ingredient conscious these days, and also just because it helps you to decide whether or not maybe this one has more ingredients in it that are more costly that might add to the cost of the actual product. But if you're not into ingredients and you're not into like more sciencey stuff and you want to just go ahead and skip to the comparison and wear test, I'll go ahead and put a timestamp up on the screen of when the ingredient talk is over so that you can just skip over all that stuff. So just really quick, most of you guys I'm sure know this already, but just for anyone who doesn't, when you're reading an ingredient label, the very first ingredient is what makes up the majority of the product. So the first ingredient could be potentially like 70-80% of the actual product, and then the last few ingredients are normally just fragrances and colorants and things that make up less than like usually 1% of the ingredients, and then everything else is kind of in the middle. So let me put up both ingredients here. I have Tatcha on the top and then Elf on the bottom, and what I did just to make it easy to see is I highlighted in yellow the ingredients in the two formulas that are exactly the same, and then the ingredients that are different I highlighted in blue for the Tatcha one and in green for the Elf. So right off the bat, the first two ingredients are exactly the same, except they're in a different order. So in the Tatcha primer, we have a silicone as the first ingredient with water as the second. And in the Elf primer, water is actually the first ingredient, and that same exact silicone is the second ingredient. So right away, the majority of both formulas is exactly the same two ingredients. It's just that there's more water in the Elf primer and you're getting a little more silicone in the Tatcha. And then the third ingredient in Tatcha is glycerin, which is a humectant that helps to draw water into the skin. It's the fifth ingredient in the Elf primer. Then skipping down to the next yellow ingredient on the Tatcha one. This is a really long name, which I'm not going to try to say, but basically when I looked it up, it said that it's a spherical powder for a soft focus effect. This ingredient is also in the Elf primer, except it's the seventh ingredient. In the Tatcha primer, it's the fifth one. And then moving down to the next ingredient that's the same in the Tatcha primer is dimethicone. That's the seventh ingredient in that one. It's actually the fourth ingredient in the Elf primer. And then the next one right after that is called sericin. I think that's how you say it. That's a mineral wax. And that's actually the eighth ingredient in the Tatcha primer, but it's the third one in Elf. So it's much higher up on the ingredient list in the Elf primer. And then the next ingredient they have in common is squalene, and that's a moisturizer for your skin. It's very hydrating. And that one is a little higher up in the Tatcha ingredient list than it is in the Elf. In the Elf primer, it's quite a bit further down the list. And actually, in the description on the Elf website, squalene was one of the ingredients they actually called out as having in the primer. So I'm surprised that it's not a little bit further up on the list. And then the last 3 ingredients that are the same, again, these are like really long names. I'm not going to try to pronounce them, but 2 of them are silicones and then also silica. And these 3 ingredients fall pretty close to the bottom of the list in both products. So now let's go ahead and see how these are different. So the Tatcha primer, the 4th ingredient, so pretty high up on the list, is that trio they were talking about of the 3 essential nutrients, the green tea, the rice, and the algae extract. These are fermented ingredients as well, which are used a lot in Korean skincare just to help brighten up the skin. Green tea is a great antioxidant, rice is a brightening ingredient, and then you have algae to help firm the skin. So I don't know if they're super effective in whatever quantity they're in this primer, but just know that they're actually in there. Also in the Tatcha primer are 3 different types of silks. You have sericin, I think it's called, which is silk from silkworms. You also have hydrolyzed silk, which is a silk protein that's a skin conditioner. And then you have silk powder, which helps to give the skin a smooth appearance. And then also there's 2 ingredients in here, one that's taro fruit extract and also red algae. And when those 2 are put together, when I Googled the 2 ingredients, actually it came up with skincare additive called Filmexil. I think that's the actual like trademark name of it, and that is supposed to create a barrier on the skin and also firming and lifting of the skin. So that's in there as well. It also contains yeast extract, which when I looked that up, it said that that is supposed to help soften the skin. And then one other noteworthy thing that the Tatcha primer has that the Elf doesn't is fragrance added. So then moving on to Elf, it has a couple of ingredients as well that the Tatcha one doesn't have. One thing that it has is hydrogenated polyisobutene, which is a synthetic mineral oil substitute. So just something that was created in the lab. It's not petroleum based. The Elf primer also has sodium chloride in it, which is actually table salt, and it's used mainly as a thickener in cosmetics. So that's in there. It also has green tea extract like the Tatcha one, but that's really far down on the list. I don't think there's much of it in there at all. And the Elf one also has talc in it. So that's another kind of controversial ingredient that some people are avoiding, because talc can contain asbestos. Now, if it's not in a powder form, like in an eyeshadow or a blush, and you're not going to be breathing it in, I don't know if it's as much of a concern, but you may still not want to put anything with asbestos on your skin. Not saying that this particular talc has asbestos, but the industry is kind of unregulated from what I've read, so you really don't know if the talc that's being used in cosmetics has it or doesn't. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time. I just wanted to quickly go through some of the ingredients so that you can see how they're different, and I do think the Tatcha one does have a lot of really beneficial ingredients in it, but again, I don't know if they're in large enough quantities to provide any kind of like anti-aging benefits or anything like that. But it does explain a little bit of the cost factor, because they did put in a lot of high quality ingredients into it, so that's just something to keep in mind. So now let's go ahead and compare these 2, and I'm going to show you what they look like in the jars and also kind of swatch them. Not really swatch them, but you know what I mean, just so you can see kind of what they look like. And I have to say, they feel pretty identical to me. They have a really slippery, almost greasy kind of feel to them, I would say. But once they go into your skin, they do not feel greasy at all. They actually dry to more of a powdery finish. They're super, super lightweight. They feel like nothing, and they dry down really, really quickly. As you're blending it, it's already getting drier. When I was doing my makeup today, I went ahead and applied the Elf to the right side of my face and then the Tatcha to the left side. And as I was applying them, I definitely noticed that they felt very, very similar. The Tatcha one may just have the slightest bit of a thicker consistency, not by much at all. It's almost intangible, but I just kind of felt like it was maybe slightly more weighty as I was putting it on, maybe slightly more hydrating than the Elf one. The Elf one, I felt like it was drying really quickly as I was blending it in, and the Tatcha one felt just the tiniest bit more emollient, but it was so super slight. It's almost like it could have been all in my mind. I'm not exactly sure, but that's just how I perceived it as I was applying the 2. And because I'm filming in front of lights just to brighten up my room, I wanted to go ahead and take photos just in front of the window here in natural lighting so that you can really see exactly what my skin looks like before and after applying each product. I think it'll just give you the most accurate view of it, because these lights can sometimes blur everything out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put those up on the screen. Let's start with the Elf one. So in the before shot, you can definitely see some pores on the middle of my cheek area, as well as around my nose and above my my upper lip, and in the after photo, you can see that the Elf primer definitely diffused the look of the pores a little bit. You can still see them. It definitely didn't blur them out completely. The ones that are on my nose, which are a little larger, are still very visible. The ones that are on my cheek and above my upper lip are a little bit softened though. And then on the Tatcha side, you can also see I have pores pretty much in the same locations, in the middle of my cheek, on my nose, and then above my upper lip. And I have to say that the Tatcha side definitely looks like it smoothed everything out just a little bit more. Again, it didn't completely erase my pores, they're still visible, but I feel like the overall appearance of my skin looks a little bit smoother than on the Elf side, just a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a humongous difference, but definitely something that I noticed when looking at these photos. So next I wanted to see how they both wear under foundation. So I used my Kokie HD foundation, which is one of my favorites that I use all the time. And when applying the foundation, I used my fingers because I really wanted to feel how it was going on over each side. And I think that the Elf side felt a little bit slicker and a little bit easier to blend the foundation in, while the Tatcha side felt a little bit grippier. So it really felt like it was gripping that foundation in. It was just the slightest bit harder to blend out, but not too much, not to the point where I had any issues. My skin still felt very smooth, but I just felt that little bit of grip on that side. So I'm wondering if this side is going to last a little bit longer than this one, because I felt like the Elf one just felt a little bit smoother and a little bit slicker. So I'm going to go ahead and put up some photos of what the foundation looks like on top of these two primers. And I have to say, I feel like my foundation looks a little bit dry over both of these, and I think that's probably due to the fact that they dry down to more of sort of a powdery matte finish. I have very, very dry skin, so I think if you're more oily, it might not bother you as much, but I just found that my foundation looked a little bit cakey, and I did see my foundation sinking into those pores on my nose specifically. They're like really, really out there and noticeable. I feel like my skin looked better before the foundation than it does in these photos here. So I'm not too sure that I like either one of them on my dry skin right now. Maybe going into the summertime, I'll feel a little bit differently about it, but I think for now, I would much prefer using the L'Oreal Studio Secrets primer, which is kind of similar to these, but I feel like it's a little bit thicker, a little more mousse-like, and I think it blurs pores even a little bit better than these do. So that's sort of my go-to primer right now, and I think I do like that one better than either of these. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just go about the rest of my day and see how these two wear. I'm gonna check in around, I would say, the 8-hour mark and see how everything's holding up. I'm really curious to see if one side holds my foundation on better than the other. So I will see you guys back here in a little while. All right, so I'm back, and I went a little bit longer than I said I was going to. It's been about 9 hours now, and I'm already in my pajamas and ready for bed and ready to take this makeup off, but I just wanted to update you guys quickly. So I feel like both sides of my face still look pretty much the same. The foundation wore off just a little bit on my nose, which it always does, but it definitely wore off on both sides of it. And that happens no matter what foundation or primer I use, no matter what I try. My nose always wears off first, so I'm not faulting either one of those for that. So my overall opinion is that these are extremely similar in the way that they look and feel on the skin and how they perform as well. I think they both helped my makeup to last pretty much all day, which is really, really good. The Tatcha one, I feel like maybe blurs pores just a tiny bit more than the Elf one does, but I don't think it's enough of a difference to warrant the huge price tag of this one versus this one. Also, the Tatcha has some more beneficial ingredients in it, while the Elf one just had pretty basic ingredients, silicones and things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't even know if there's enough of those ingredients in this primer to give you like those anti-aging or firming benefits. And this one does have silk that's supposed to help it just like glide across the skin and everything, but even without the silk, this one still somehow manages to feel the same exact way as this one does. So whatever they use as a substitute in here, it's working, because I really feel like it's hard to tell the difference between these two. And as far as my personal opinion on these two, I wasn't super impressed with how foundation laid on top of them, but then again, it could just be because my skin is really super dry right now. Maybe these aren't providing enough hydration for me. It could also be that foundation in particular. So I do plan to play with these a little bit more and use different foundations on top and see if maybe it was just that particular one that didn't play well with either one of these. But overall, I think that they did a good job of blurring watering my pores and making my skin look smooth, so that's definitely a good thing. So anyway, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know if you've tried either one of these and what your thoughts are on them. I always love hearing from you and chatting with you guys, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and also please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more reviews. I also do hauls every Sunday, so thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!